You're listening to Real Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out realradio.com. Welcome to Real Radio. This is the Real Estate Rundown, episode 247 with Owen and Ted Kosh. Man, I know what it is. This week has just seemed so long. I feel like we haven't been in the studio for like 2 weeks. Yeah. And it's just because of all the stuff with Charlie Kirk and all the news. It's just,
dude, this was a weird week, man. There are a lot of bad stuff happened. And, 9/11 as a reminder too, like it's just been, it's not been a good week.
School shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is 2 weeks out from
and the school shooting, honestly, it didn't make near the headlines as Charlie Kirk. Obviously, he was such a polarizing, political activist figure that, he probably had a lot of people that didn't really like him, but man, it's a human life. I don't care who you are. I mean, that's my take on it. I spent some time cleaning up my friends list. It was just
seeing some nasty,
hateful stuff. Like, glad he's dead and like all that. And like, I hate it. I hate that it's come to this where social media is a keyboard warrior platform and people just can spew hate out there and not really have any repercussions about it.
I did remove a handful of people also.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was a lot of comments about that. And then, what about this person? I was like, well, yeah, but when that happened to those people mourned, but people didn't post hateful things about those people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the difference. It was just a really weird week in America. And I don't know, it was sad. It definitely impacted me. I was literally working and it was on the screen next to me what was happening. And I was just like, it shook me down to the core to watch that. And I think that's kind of why I polarized.
Well, like you and I were talking before we started recording, it's, man, the graphic content, showing the actual shooting was like, that was really jarring. And like I think you said, it's a lot of the teenagers that took the film themselves and then they posted it before it could be washed or whitewashed or whatever they're going to do to it at Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. So
it takes you back to the whole JFK thing. That was like the last time somebody saw something that graphic that was live on TV.
Yeah, and then like 15 minutes before we got in the studio here, they evidently caught the main suspect.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure we're going to be talking about this for weeks on end with how this unfolds. But yeah, it is really, really sad, really tragic, and hearts go out to families and friends of all the victims that have had here. So
tough stuff. I'm actually listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and I guess he finds out in the middle of the podcast. Of course,
I actually saw the clip of that where he found out, and he was interviewing
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen. So. Anyway, big bummer in this, mainly America this week with that type of news. But how else? What else has been going on? Sorry to bring it off on a downer here, but
it's been a go week. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but so we had the RIA Mastery event, and there was so much time put into that, like ungodly amount of time put into that, and then we had our RIA event right after that.
Yep.
And with Megan Ahern, great listen. If you guys check it out on our YouTube channel, RIA Radio YouTube. And normally I take half the day off beforehand, the day off of, to prepare for a regular RIA event.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't start like doing anything until 1:30 in the afternoon.
Did it work?
It was so easy.
Oh, comparatively, yeah, because it's such a smaller event.
It wasn't even the same. Like it felt like I was doing nothing.
Yeah,
I'm like, speaker's coming. There's no food. There's no this. I just literally got to print out some cards, make some printables, and set up the event. Like, I don't know why it made it feel so light.
You know why? Because you leveled up, baby.
It felt so light.
You're the guy now.
So to do that event was like, I've been doing that event for 5 years, and it's never felt like that. So now that we've done this one, it changed how I felt with this.
Well, yeah, it's like you hit your PR on weightlifting, and then you go back down to your warm-up set. It feels so much lighter and easier. So, yeah, I've no doubt we're going to be able to put together better and better events and bigger events. And
somebody came in like, "Are you going to do breakout sessions this next time?" I'm like, "Breakout sessions is a
hard
whole nother world." Like that's the next goal down the road.
That's 202 level. We're at 101 right now.
Yeah, like, and then I explain, I'm like, once you have breakout sessions, it's extra film crews, extra lighting crews, extra sound crews. The cost.
It's got to be 50% more, right?
I would say 150% more.
Oh, wow.
Because you're going to have 10 times the speakers.
So no breakout sessions for you.
Yeah, it's coming, but it won't be at the price point of that we've been putting it out there. That's for sure.
Hey, topic change. I just started reading this book. Do you ever read like biographies or, kind of like nonfiction historical stuff?
Very rarely.
I haven't been doing it as much lately, but I try to like have at least, probably 3 or 4 of those that I've read during a year, typically, just to find out more about influential people from past days. And, I don't know why this came up. I was just looking for a new book, and John D. Rockefeller, obviously hugely influential, wealthiest man in the world at the time. He grew up kind of like mid to late 1800s. And then I didn't know really much at all about him, but he has a book called Titan that I downloaded. And it's a cool take on it because he's had a whole bunch of books written about him over the years. But this one is very, most of them are kind of like bow down before John Rockefeller. Here's all the stuff he did. And he's a humanitarian. He's the best person ever. This one was more of like the good, the bad, and the ugly about him. Yeah. And I really liked it. And it's crazy what he did back then, because he basically started Standard Oil, right? And then basically he needed a place to transport his oil. And so he started working with the railroads, which were newly being built at the time. So there wasn't a huge, infrastructure in place. And then after a while, he started negotiating with them and getting rebates and kickbacks and all this stuff, because he's like, look, if I'm going to be shipping all this oil, I need a rebate. So then all these people in other industries that were trying to ship goods were getting pissed because Standard was getting these, sweetheart deals on shipping. And then after a while, he ended up just basically buying the railroad, like majority stake in the railroad. So and then all the shipping costs, because oil was like $1 a barrel back then. It would go up to like $10 and then back down. It was super volatile, kind of like Bitcoin is now. And then he ended up racing this other company called Tidewater to build the first pipeline that connected to the Eastern Seaboard so they could start doing international shipping. And he was doing all these crazy maneuvers, like trying to buy up land in front of where he thought the pipeline was going to go that his competitor had, so that he'd block them, kind of like Tron.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever your analogy is there. But
smart moves.
Yeah. And then he started buying all these little refineries that were popping up. So he just was consolidating, grabbing more market share. And then he started they didn't come right out and say bribing, but he was definitely lining the pockets of a lot of politicians and lobbyists. And that was kind of the infancy of when that happened.
Which was common back then.
Yeah. And it was just the Wild West, man, literally.
Yeah.
And anyway, just a fascinating read. I'm not done with it yet. I'm probably maybe not quite halfway, but man, it is nuts. The backbone that our country ended up getting built on is that dude. And then he, tied in with the Vanderbilt family, who they became basically the cabal of the puppet masters behind the scenes of how the country was going to be set up and run, and how industry and business worked and all that. The education system and all the stuff we're doing right now was basically the sole purpose of getting workers trained so that they could be plugged into his machine. It's crazy. And we've maintained that school system for the most part for decades, decades and decades, a century. It's crazy, dude. It's just fascinating to see how different things were back then. And then the mad dash of just the oil rush. Super cool story.
I definitely need to read more, because I don't read a lot of biographies, but I did read Dethroning the King.
Who's that?
It was the Anheuser-Busch family.
Oh, okay.
And how
Augustus Busch.
Yeah, and he was and his son, how he got him out of running the company and took over the company.
I don't really know that story. Is it good? Is it a good book?
It was fascinating.
Huh?
Yeah, it was actually. I'm not gonna name drop him, but there's a gentleman that owns a very large Budweiser distributor here in the country.
Yeah,
it has a 2-state market.
I may know who you're talking.
And yeah, you do. And I was talking to him having a cigar. And he was telling me some stories. He's like, oh yeah, when I was 22, I had the biggest market share in the world for Budweiser.
For distributing.
Yeah, he had. Don't quote me on this, but 84% market share in his state. And of all beer sales.
Wow.
And he was 22 years old, and his dad had the company, and he was the head, running a lot of things at this point. And then so, he would go to these meetings, and you'd call him out and just say, why are you doing it like he does it? And then you start yelling at him for not having higher market share, even though the next highest was 50%.
I might have to pick that up. What was it called? Dethroning the King.
Well, these were personal
stories. Did they go into the whole Bud Light debacle when they had that marketing campaign?
That was when the Brazilian group.
Got it.
And this is the fall of the business and the initial buyout. and how that buyout happened. It gets into that. But, when he was telling me one other story that you probably find fascinating, he's like, yeah, he goes, all the people that had the market share in the country go on a yacht once a year for a fishing trip.
Okay.
And one of the distributors died on day 1 or day 2 of the trip. And Augustus is like, we're not turning around. He goes, stick him in the freezer. So
that did not happen.
So the cooks had to step over this body for a whole week and prepare food over this dead body that was in the freezer. And they disconnected all the radios and stuff. He's like, we're not turning around. I'm not canceling this trip. And so then when he came back, they said, oh, it just happened. We put him in the freezer. when they came back.
Wow.
Then he's like, I'm sitting here, having a cocktail and smoking cigars 2 years ago. And I'm like, I need to learn more about this. He's like, he goes, Dethroning the King is probably the best book to give me an idea of how it was.
Yeah, and it's I don't know why I brought that up in the first place, other than it's fascinating and a good read. But I'll have to check that out. But it goes to show you that history either will cast someone as a villain, and that's the slant that people take on that person and their memory of them, their legacy, or they're a hero and they did all good things. And that's never the case because people are so nuanced. But I just like learning about industry titans, for example, Microsoft or, companies that grow to be behemoths and the founders. And then, you just know that they had to make some really, really tough calls on a lot of things and probably had to make some questionable, morality or business ethics, those type of decisions. But to get to that size,
you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, the trade-offs that you make, and you're selling a little piece of your soul at a time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. And it's, but I don't know, anybody listening to this and likes that kind of thing, biographies and histories of iconic figures, pick that book up, Titan. And it certainly sounds like the one you mentioned was really good too.
Well, I need to make a point to read more of these because you really sparked something in me by that story and remembering this, because I don't read these type of books, but I couldn't put this one down.
Well, I think, especially if Audible is the format you're listening to it on, a big part of that is the narrator. You know what I mean?
Totally.
If they just have some monotone, robotic person reading that with no voice inflection or accents or anything like that, it's just okay.
That's why the 10X book is so impactful to me.
Did Cardone, he narrated it?
Yeah. And halfway through, he gets so excited. And I love how he doesn't necessarily read the book word for word.
Yeah.
He keeps on ad-libbing his own shit in there. But it really feels like he did the whole reading in one session.
Oh.
Because it's really high energy and you're getting pumped. And then it's 2/3 in, you just feel like you hit a wall. And I'm like, he one dayed this thing. I know he did.
Oh yeah. He's fading hard by the end of the day.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, that's the reason I've listened to that book so many times. It just pumps you up because he's the one reading it.
What's crazy is, so I went to a conference in, what was this, 5-6 years ago? I went to a real estate investing conference in, I want to say it was St. Pete. Mm-hmm. And it was a multifamily specific. And it was one of those where they get up and it's 8 a.m. and most people are either hungover or jet lagged. And they hire a hype guy to come in and they start blasting this super loud music. And the guy's like, okay, who's ready? Right away in the morning. I'm like, oh my God, can we not do this?
I love that.
I know you do. I'm just like, oh, this is going to be a lot.
I'm that guy in the house in the morning when waking up the kids.
Oh, geez. I could totally see that. High energy, annoying.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
You're such a nerd. But yeah, anyway, where I was going with that was I went down there with a buddy and we ran into this dude. His name's Mark Evans. And he's a pretty notable business influencer. He's a real estate guy, but he also does a lot of other business stuff.
Call him, get him on the podcast.
So this was funny though. We're sitting in the hotel lobby bar, and it was either between or
where everything happened.
Right, exactly. We're sitting there, and I think we were waiting for another session or just taking a break or something. And then this dude's sitting there, Mark Evans. Didn't know him from Adam. We just start talking, and it ended up being just the coolest guy ever. You know what I mean? When we went to Vegas and met that dude that owned all, I don't know if he was a billionaire, but I mean,
he said he was a billionaire.
He had a lot of business.
He sold his companies that added to over $1 billion in sales.
But yeah, anyway, so this Mark Evans, we're chatting with him, and then I'm not going to do a good job explaining this, but we talked to him for an hour and a half, and it was a super fun conversation and just telling stories, and we didn't even really talk about real estate at all. Then somebody comes out and taps him on the shoulder, and he's like, hey, Mark, you're on next. And I'm like, wait, what is going on here? He was the freaking keynote speaker, and I had no idea who he was.
Shut up.
So we were talking with him for an hour and a half about it. But anyway, he was a big proponent of, reading and books and, all those kinds of things and networking. And anyway, just a great conversation.
That's the type of person we do on a podcast.
Yeah, he's fun, man.
That's that real and willing just to talk and, not
and he didn't big time us at all.
Exactly,
like, would never have known that he was who he is. But yeah, he was a cool dude.
So we have events coming up. You're going to Bigger Pockets,
yep.
And I'm going to go to the National RIA.
Yeah, that's cool. This will be your first time doing that, right?
So we're going to split and conquer. So you got to get a whole bunch of leads for the podcast.
Oh, geez, the pressure's on.
Oh, you are a talker. Just have fun with that. And then my event's in New Orleans.
Oh, gee, you're going to get nothing done.
And
mine's in Vegas. I mean, it's the same.
The average age of the National RIA person is probably close to 70.
They're like, okay, here we go. We're on our dinner break at Golden Corral at 4 p.m.
I hope it's not like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to I had to talk with Jason Dries this week, and I'm like focus and growth. And he's like, some people can focus on multiple things, but some people really need to, focus on one thing and then grow it and then move to the next thing. And I've been spreading my focus off for so many years now. I feel like I'm not putting all my effort into something.
That's how I feel most of the time.
Yeah. And so I'm like, what I'm doing works, but isn't really working, so I'm going to take some advice and I looked at my inner soul here, and I'm like, the thing that I'm best at and I feel like I can grow the fastest is the RIA. So there's like 6 categories of growth in the RIA that I'm going to focus on. I'm like, I need to go to this national convention to see if there's actually something I can get out of that.
Yep.
And if not, then, hey, I did it once.
Yeah. No, it's great. I'm glad you're going. Wish you'd tag along with me to BP Con, but
I really, 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 really want to go.
Oh no, it's an expensive trip.
So
I mean, that's not that that's the reason, but I mean, it's not a cheap trip,
especially
at Vegas.
I credit card pointed the whole entire trip.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, the hotel, the flights is just a $500 ticket. So yeah, so that'll be fun. Really excited to see what happens with that. And then one other thing I was going to tell you, how I've been working on that book for a while. Like the last 6 months,
like your book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't talked about it much.
No, because I finished the content yesterday.
And now ChatGPT working overtime.
I've probably got about 80 hours into that GPT and book writing deal.
Are you just talking?
Yes, I every time for about 6 months now, I just talk into this book writing GPT. And
how did you create that?
It's already created because there's like a GPT for everything. And so I looked up book writing and then picked the highest rated one. And it uses all your memory. So if you guys decide to do this in your chat GPT, it will eat up every ounce of your memory to do this. My thing is screaming for me to delete this out of there. But anyway, in it, I would talk just general talk. It says, okay, just tell me about what you want to do. And then it prompts you, okay, I heard you mention this, and this. Let's break this down. Here's some questions I have for you about this chapter. At one point, I'm like 60 hours in. I go, how much longer do I need to be doing this for? And it says, based on the content you get, I'm guessing about 20 more hours. So and it was like 20 more hours of content I put in there. And I just talk and talk and talk. And sometimes I'm talking for an hour. Like when I went to Minnesota and it was like an 8-9 hour drive, 9 hours of just talking.
Wait, you did that with the family in the car?
No, it was just me driving up.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I would stab you in the neck.
Absolutely not. And then so now it's like it just said yesterday, it goes, congratulations, you've finally gotten done. And now let's go over credits and just the bonus information. I dropped a lot of resources and stuff. So it's like, let's break down these resources. Let's break this down. Just for credits
kind of the detailed stuff.
And then it's
the punch list.
Yep. And it's like after that, I'll create you this book file and a PDF and this, and then you can go to an editor, have it looked over. So we'll see.
Look at you, Ted Kosh, published author.
Slowly getting there.
Can you share what the topic is about?
It's all about the power of creating your own networking group.
Okay, perfect. You're a subject matter expert on that like no other.
And so just big overview, no matter what category you're in, you should create a group in whatever focus you have. If it's caffeine cap rates, but you can go small and have credibility. Or you can take it to the next level where you have sponsors, and then we break down how to vet your speakers, how to vet your sponsors, how to grow your group, how to advertise it, how to market it, and then going into like really deep diving of all that content and the resources that we're using. But
it probably made you better too, because now you're remembering all this stuff that's involved in putting these things together, and then maybe you think of better ways of doing it or whatever, right? And it's probably an interesting process to go through to get all that brain dump.
It really made me think. It says, that line, do as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that I say that I also don't do.
Right.
I'm like, I should be doing
I'm pretty
this.
good at that too.
I should be doing that. And then so I know when I go through and reread it, I'll get a lot more out of that.
Cool. Well, I'm excited, man. Are you going to put a goal out there? When's the publishing date, Ted?
I mean, I don't know. I've never done this before. I don't know what that process looks like at all. Do I self-publish? Most likely, but I can't find a book that's on this topic.
No, I've never seen one. So not that I've looked, but
I mean, I'll throw it to Bigger Pockets and see if they want to jump on it.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't really care about the money,
right?
But from everybody I talk to, that's doing big stuff. Like, I know I'm not a great speaker. I have no problem getting in front of people and speaking, but I'm not like an A+ speaker. But I remember talking to Jeff Cohn, and he presented. He's like, "Hey, create your topic, create your book. You can create your outline for your presentation. The presentation, and then you have a marketing company that creates your slides that matches your presentation. And then there's just certain areas you replace the slides and replace the content per city that you're in. And then Jeff's like, I get $20,000-$30,000 to go speak around the country on these topics.
That's crazy.
And he goes, if I come back to your arena and speak again, my speech will be exactly the same. I'll just change out some statistics, and nobody will know that the speech isn't changed.
Yeah.
Everybody will just know it's a really good speech. I related with them. And the more I do it, he's like, I think at the time, he's like, I've done it like 100+ times in front of people.
He's got it all memorized.
It's memorized. So the flow is amazing. Everybody's like, oh, you're the best speaker ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what it takes, I think. And then, you know what? You write another book, you write another speech off of it, or whatever you do,
Well, good for you, man.
So
I had a little road trip that Axel Foley and I went on. Went down to Branson on Tuesday to check up on our redevelopment project.
How is that going?
It's going great. This was kind of funny. So for those of you Omaha listeners, you probably have heard of A1 Kitchen and Bath.
They're a sponsor of our local RIA.
Yep. And they're very investor friendly cabinet supplier, countertop supplier. I think they probably have other stuff too, but they can do and
they manufacture their own stuff too.
Yeah. So we actually lined them up. So this project I'm talking about is in Branson, Missouri, which is about a 6-hour drive from Omaha. And it's a hotel redevelopment, turning it into 144 apartment units, 6 buildings. I've been working on this thing forever. I'm going to do, at some point here, I will...
That right there? No,
that's the old... That is the old picture.
Yeah. That's what it used to look like for people on video.
Yeah. Anyway, so we go down there, right? And the deal is the A1 was sending basically a trailer full of all the cabinets and countertops, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking 100 units worth. So this is a lot of crap, right? And these are all flat packed, so they're flat boxes, and you got to take them out and assemble them, and then you got to put them on, attach them to the wall and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm very aware of that.
But these guys, so this company is owned by a guy named Jimmy, and he, I believe, is Chinese.
Yeah, Jimmy. I know Jimmy.
And
Jimmy Chen
speaks really good English.
Yeah.
These 6 guys that he sent down, they probably knew 2 words of English between the 6 of them. It was very hard to communicate. And so what Axel and I were doing is he had all the printouts of the layouts of the kitchens, because we have about, I want to say there's 7 or 8 different layouts that we have. The rooms are slightly different dimensions, different configurations and stuff. So you can't have exactly the same cabinets and exactly the same unit throughout. So we had to go through and tape the layout so the cabinet installers knew where to even put it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were running ahead of them, taping them in every unit. Dude, this is crazy. So I'm thinking of all these things from that happened on the thing, but I'm going to make a post about this or a reel. But so Axel is kind of let's call him the construction manager, and we hire a GC. So we have a builder there, and then we have a site superintendent. That's kind of he's basically the boss. He's telling everybody what to do and all that, making sure timelines are tight. And I didn't know this. I didn't find this out until I went down there, but they kept referencing the stinky unit. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? And they're like, you don't know? I'm like, no, what is this? So what happened was
great.
A skunk had found its way somehow into one of the units. And we think he got in through maybe a gap in the siding or crawled up in the attic space somehow or another he got in. And you know what a PTAC unit is, right? It's for those of you that don't,
wall air conditioning unit.
If you ever stayed in a hotel, it's that thing that sits under the window, typically that's poked through the wall that does heating and cooling. That's what we have there. We've got PTAC units because these are pretty small, mostly studios and 1-beds. Anyway, so the skunk found its way in, and for whatever reason, pried the cover on the PTAC off, crawled into it, and started chewing wires and basically hanging out in there, and then hit the live wire and completely got torched. So it was basically like a fried carcass of a skunk. I've got pictures of it and stuff. I'm gonna make it real.
How bad
about
was the smell?
Oh, well, by the time I got there, because it had aired out and they'd gotten obviously it out of there, and they put like, floor glue down for the LVP and stuff. So it didn't smell like it did before, but apparently it was pretty rank. Yeah, unbelievable. Just a random
dead animal and skunk.
Yeah, a skunk. So
and fried.
Yeah.
That's like a trifecta.
It was not good. But no, the project is going really well. It's gotten to the fun stages because when you got cabinets going in, you're very close to the end. We already have the LVP down. The cabinets are going in. Then right behind them are going to be the plumbers that connect all the rough plumbing to the sinks and put in the lav faucets and all that stuff. And then after that, they're going to come right behind them and trim out all the stuff, put down the base shoe, the trim, all that. And then we're pretty close. The electricians will have to hang the lights and then we can open. Like we'll have to get a CO from the
open one building or
open one building, but there are two buildings that are going to be finishing about 4 weeks concurrently behind that.
Okay.
And then the last two buildings will be finished probably, like early spring. So that's kind of the schedule we're on right now, but we already have leases, which is crazy because we have an on-site property manager that's going to be staying. She's not living there, but she'll be, 9 to 5 in the leasing office. So we met her. And, when we had Andy Corey on, was that last week? Week before?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. He was talking, he made reference to larger properties where you would have a payroll manager.
Yep.
And that's what we're doing. So we hired a property management company. They're a pretty good outfit from what we can tell so far. And then they went out and recruited specifically for a property manager at our property. Mm-hmm. And so we met her, went over stuff, and, she talked about all the stuff she's doing. And she can't really show the units because they're still under construction and it's a liability thing. But she's had people walking in and, we're starting to do advertising and stuff like that. So she's had people sign leases, not many, but a couple already. That's pretty cool.
So let's say building one gets rented within a month. Like if that happened, is that first building rented covering at least the nut for you?
Well, okay. So when we put the financing together on this thing, we basically did a 506c syndication. So we raised money from investors. We put our own money into it, bought the land and the property itself, or more or less for cash. So no financing. And then the problem with this deal was this was right in, we bought it in 2021 or 2.
Man, it's been a while.
It was just the worst time ever to buy it because that's when all of the Ukraine and Russia stuff happened. All the interest rates went up to 9%.
Yeah.
It was the worst time ever. Post-mortem, looking back, I'm like, we literally could not have picked a worse time. So we had a lot of trouble getting the construction note lined up.
Yeah.
We finally got a bank out of St. Louis to do the construction financing. And how we have it set up is basically like 18-month. The payments don't start until the buildings are stabilized. Right.
Nice.
So we have some runway still before we have to start making the interest payments. So I'm hoping we'll be able to build up enough, cash flow that we can, cover everything that needs covered and so forth. So yeah, it's a lot, man.
It is a lot.
And here's the weird thing. When you do a larger project like this, especially a redevelopment or a ground up, there's like the little detail things will really eat up a lot of, mental space.
Yeah.
Because here's an example. So 6 buildings, kind of a big property. I don't know how many acres it's on, but it's not a small property. Mm-hmm. And so think about this. You have to work with the fire department because they need to know which building is what. So if they get an emergency call out and they dispatch a truck, they got to know which building they're going to, where it's at and all that. But so you have to get signage. And we're like, well, how big does the sign need to be? Does it a color? Is it what type of font? Where can you put it on the building? All those things, mm-hmm. Right? So now we got to get signs made for each building to satisfy the fire department requirements and all this stuff. It's just like the little detail things. And that's why I always say when you're 90% done with the project, you're 50% done.
That's true. And is everything sprinklered in that too?
Yeah.
So
we had to.
That'll make it nice.
Mm-hmm.
That probably helps your insurance a ton.
So when you look at hotels, and this is like Branson, Missouri, for those of you in the Midwest, you probably either heard of it or been there. It's kind of like Hillbilly Vegas, right? So there's just crazy crap everywhere. It's like roller coasters next to a cave, next to a Trump store, next to like it's
the
nuts.
Trump stores on Earth.
It is nuts, man.
They even have like the voodoo dolls that you can get your tarot card reading.
But this one was interesting because the building itself, so it was built in the late 80s. So it had, at least it had electrical and plumbing that were this, recently and within the last couple of decades. But when you change a certain amount of a property, and this is a complete redevelopment, you have to typically bring it up to code in all areas. So we had to get sprinklers, we had to get a new 8-inch water main brought in, we had to get fire hydrants, we had to do all this utility work, we had to get a new transformer, 2 new transformers.
I remember how fun that was.
Oh my God. But anyway, when you look at a hotel, the best, at least in my limited experience in this, which is one pretty decent sized project, and working with Andrea and Axel who have done this before, exterior entries are typically the way to go. So you don't have wasted square footage in the lobby.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's hard to do anything with that stuff with how it's all laid out. So exterior entries, this one is called, it's CMU, which is basically concrete block, right? So the whole building is wood frame, but exterior is all made out of block. Now, the challenging part about that is you have to figure out what you're going to do with the walls. If you want to frame it out and drywall everything, then you got to run electrical and you got to, like, it's a whole thing, right? And if you don't want to drywall it, if you just use the walls, which is what we did, we put a decent amount of texture on the walls and they look good. But then you have to get those weird outlets that are like Foursquare. They like stick out of the wall. You know what I mean? And so we worked with the electrical that was already there and didn't have to go that route. But it's just kind of a whack-a-mole with trying to figure out all this stuff.
I think that our listeners that have been listening for a really long time have just felt like this is their own personal baby at this point because they've heard the story of it growing up all the way to this point right now.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm getting excited. It was an overdue trip. I hadn't been down there in a probably 2-3 months. So I'm glad I went down. We got to meet our property manager, meet with our super and GC and all that.
You have another trip too coming up, don't you? Are you speaking?
Yeah. By the time this airs, let's see, this will be the following Monday. So I'll have already done it, but yeah I'm going up to Ankeny, Iowa, which is kind of outside of Des Moines, to do, basically a multifamily specific kind of a meetup group.
What day is that on?
It's on Tuesday. Got a spot open, man. If you want to carpool.
Tuesday the 15th or 16th?
16th. Yep.
I might be down with
all
that.
right.
Let me chat with the wifey. We have football practice that night, but
yeah, so I'll probably just be up and back, probably leave mid-afternoon and come back sometime next day.
Okay.
But anyway, so I got that coming up, and yeah. What about you? You got anything, any trips planned or anything new and exciting?
No, I'm not like you. I'm not having stuff going on all around the country, and and I'm not looking for a new house like you or anything like that.
No, yeah, you're not busy.
You find your house?
Oh no, that's just in the background.
It's
like
okay.
I'm not.
You're pretty like in on it there for a minute.
Well, so. I think we missed the window.
Got it.
Right, because it's back to school time. Most people aren't going to list their house, or at least unless they have to.
Yeah, this is probably one of the worst times. Yeah.
So the search continues, but yeah, I have my search saver set up, and like I get hammered with text at anytime any house that is close to what I'm looking for. I get like 6 or 7 realtors that are always sending them to me. So I don't even look. You know what I mean?
I listed one of my Airbnbs. So I actually listed 2 of them, but one of them is under contract.
Yeah.
And
when's closing on that?
It's end of the month.
Is it going to close?
Well, so we just got done doing inspections.
Oh boy!
And they're like, oh, we see old termite damage. So I'm like, okay, well, send me whatever you got. Let me get the bids and we'll go from there, right? And like, oh, the furnace isn't working. Well, when they swapped out come to find out the wire was just mishooked on the thermostat.
Oh, it's thermostat.
Yeah, because we replaced the thermostat when the last tenants moved out.
Yep.
And so that got that fixed. And then I went ahead, it's like, just clean it, make it look good. It's FHA buyer. Like, let's get past that real fast. And then they're like, oh, there's a plumbing leak. And I'm like, and all the plumbing's new.
Yep.
And I'm like, and we can't recreate it, which is super fun. I'm like, I can't recreate this. I have a plumber there.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what you're seeing. And then it's then the next issue was there's termite on one of the main support beams of the original part of the house. They're saying there's termite damage. There's no structural issue, but they're like, well, we want this replaced.
The whole beam?
Yeah. And I'm like, this is not easy. Like,
no.
Then the floors aren't moved. Like, there is some damage on the corner, but it isn't like broken or anything like that. Like, can we just encase it?
Can we not? Can we just not do this?
Yeah. And so it's just like I completely almost gutted this house down to the studs and redid it. Like, it is a new house. Like, and they're gonna deal. So we'll see. But it's FHA, so you're limited on that stuff.
Probably my least favorite part of a flip or a sale is the inspection results, because then it's like they may back out.
Yeah,
you may have put it under contract, taken it off the market, gotten all ready, got your plans together for what you're going to do next, and then they pull out.
Yeah.
Or they'll come back and they'll be like, I want everything on here fixed.
Well,
and then you're like, oh my God, now I got to,
No,
yeah, it's just, and then like if it's drywall or if it's something, plumbing, and there's always something with plumbing, always.
Plumbing's easy.
Yeah. Plumbing or HVAC, those are easy peasy. You just make one phone call and fixed. You get your receipt, send it to them, done.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the little stuff like a beam or whatever. You're just like, oh my god, now you got to get somebody that can put the beam in. You got to get a drywaller, you got to get a finish, somebody to do the finish work. You got to paint it.
Basement's unfinished.
Okay, well that helps.
Yeah, but it's still like
you got to jack it up and wedge out the thing or cut the beam.
It's an old house. It's an 1800s house, so the beam goes into the concrete walls.
No.
So it's not like
that sucks.
Yeah, so I don't.
You don't know what you're gonna do.
I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I'm kind of lost on that one yet.
Maybe you could sister one up, like just put another one right beside it.
I'm waiting for that response right now.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, can you bring a structural engineer in to give their opinion?" I'm like, I do not want to bring a structural engineer in.
Yeah, you can.
And that's what they said. Well, we'll pay for it, but if my client loses his job or anything, then it's on you. And I'm like, I gotta play this game.
You know what really pisses me off? I've had deals before where and here's a weird thing. I've had deals where it's a flip or whatever, and I'm selling it, or even if I'm selling something as is, and the buyer will come back and they'll say, okay, I want you to fix this. And you'll say, okay, I'll do it. So you fix it, and then it falls out of contract after that.
Yeah.
And then you already sunk that money, and you lost the sale, and you got to relist it. But the weird thing is, no two home inspectors are the same.
Not at all.
Yeah, you'll have a completely different list of things they call out or want repaired. And every buyer's different. They may be like, oh, that beam is no big deal. I've seen that before. Or they may be freaked out because they've had termites before. And you know what I mean? It's just like, it's such a wild card. You have no idea what's going to happen. Literally every time I get one of those, I cringe because I'm like, oh God, what are they going to ask me to do?
I went through that with my last buyer for the apartment building. I went through the whole process, fixed everything they wanted. And even if it was some petty shit.
Yep.
It was closing day and their bank's like, oh, we want 40% down.
Yeah. So they're like, nope, I'm out.
And then I'm like, here's the bank I have currently right now. Introduction. They will honor my pricing, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Jason Gray.
Yep.
And then it was like going to get delayed. And they're like, okay, we're going to go forward with it. And then they're like, oh, we're getting cold feet. And I'm like, well, the financing's there.
Yep.
Your financing didn't get denied. I just did $4,000 in repairs for you. Yep. I had to change my whole entire client list on Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Which is a real pain in the rear.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is this one that's under contract. I'm like, I'm now had to cancel all my future
I didn't
business.
even think about that. Yeah, you got to clear the decks because if you're not going to own it in a month, you got to make sure that you don't have bookings right after that because you don't know what they're going to do.
And where am I going to put all this furniture?
Right. I know. Yeah, that also sucks.
I was like, I have a whole house now of furniture, 3 beds.
Yeah.
Where's it go?
I don't know. Storage units, baby.
Yep. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Or just buy yourself storage.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
eat your own cooking, buddy.
That's what I need to do. I saw you had your fifth half place listed.
Oh yeah, I just listed Fifth Ave Apartments.
Popped up on my feed.
Yep, that went up for sale yesterday. It was under contract. I had it off market. I was just kind of quietly shopping it. But yeah, so listed yesterday or the day before, and we've got some showings lined up for today. So it's starting the process. That's the thing that sucks too is like a big property like that, it's 31 units or a bigger property. Yeah. There's so many more things there because you got 31 different sets of people living there and 31 different kitchens and, electrical and plumbing and common areas. And so I have no idea what to expect. They may be like, oh, why don't you, hey, we'll buy it, but we want you to fix this. And you look and it's like $100,000 or something, and you're like, ugh.
Well, it's like you had no intentions of originally selling it. You got excited because somebody made you an offer and then you start making your plans going forward.
Yep.
But you had no intentions of selling it prior to that, right?
Well, I'm in a weird spot, though, like a lot of people are, because I bought that place in 2021, right? It's like that was, the bottom of the interest rate market, more or less, or right around there. So my interest rate on that place is 3.5%. And so my payment's only like, I don't know, it's like $6,600 or something.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's got a, not quite a $30,000 rent roll.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. Now, granted, I've been having to add a lot of CapEx.
Like the roof.
Yeah. The roof, the tuck pointing, the HVACs. I think I've done 19 HVACs out of the 31, maybe more. And then unit turns, unit remodels. It's been a lot of money, but I mean, I'm going to do well on it. It's just a question of like, what am I going to do next?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's coming up. And hey, I wanted to throw I've got an idea for today's
Golden Nugget.
Okay. We have talked about this before. Here's what I wanted to mention. There's a lot of opportunity, you guys, out there for buying multiple properties from one seller at the same time. And then what I wanted to bring up today is just to get you thinking about this differently. Because if you're let's say you're buying single family rentals, or maybe you're in a small multi or whatever, and you're trying to build your portfolio, it can take a while if you're doing one at a time. The nice thing about buying multiples is, let's say you find a package of, I don't know, 10 single family homes that a seller wants to unload. They're likely going to be way more willing to give you a good discount on that if you buy all of them at once instead of having to do one at a time, right? Maybe you get 10% off because of that. And maybe since it's off market and maybe you're dealing directly with the seller, you're able to save another, say, 6 to 10% because they're not listing it.
Yeah, agent fees.
Yep. And so you can negotiate your way into maybe a 20%, maybe even better than that, 25% equity position. And if the place is it needs work, or maybe it's mismanaged, like you could go in and just raise rents right away. Maybe people are on month to month, stuff like that. So you could go and buy that package deal. And now this is just one angle on this. There's a lot of different ways to slice and dice, but you could use, let's say you have a line of credit or cash or both. You could certainly use that, buy the whole thing, right? Or you could use hard money, take down the entire package, cross-collateralize your note with the lender, and as you close on it, you could then sell off a couple of those. Maybe you sell off 2 out of the 10. And since you were able to negotiate such a good discount, you have 20% equity in that, now you're recovering your potential down payment that a lender is going to require you to have if you get long-term debt on it. So you buy the package. Let's use this example of 10 houses. Or let's say it's a property that has an adjacent piece of land, and you see this quite a bit, right? That land, you got to zero in on those because you have now an opportunity to bundle that together and sell it to a developer potentially, or build yourself or whatever. But my play on this is you take the deal down, all collateralized on one note, and then you can either sell off some of them, recoup the cash, then you take it to an actual commercial lender. You say, I want to get a note on this, right? And then your money from the 2 that you already sold should pay for everything, have your down, and then you're just into it for no money. That's the theory, right?
Yeah.
And then, there's other ways to do that. Like if you have, let's say you buy 2 multifamilies that are, I don't know, an 8 unit and a 24 unit, let's say. You buy them same way with hard money or bridge debt. And then let's say you want to keep both of them. You could then take those 2 properties to different lenders and get financing on them based on the new appraised value or the stabilized value. So those are plays you can do too. And then you can do basically a BRRRR and refinance your down out of that and still be in it for little to no money. So those are pretty advanced ways that you can kind of scale a little bit faster, recoup your cash, keep more money in your pocket, and then get, long-term debt on it and free roll.
If somebody was interested to learn more about that, is there resources out there that you would recommend?
Man, I don't know. Mine's just been kind of like, the Helen Keller method. I'm just feeling around in the dark here, and I've kind of figured this out dealing with different partner groups.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find some on YouTube.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Maybe I could maybe I'll do some research on that and get a more comprehensive study together. But that was today's
Golden Nugget. Was that a topic at the Caffeine Cap Rates yesterday?
No, you know what? Since I was coming back from Branson then, so Andrea covered for me. And I found out, because we had a bunch of conference calls together on the way home. And yeah, I was like, how did it go? And, had usual crowd, probably 15, 20 people. And Andrea basically put on a class on how to build prompts in ChatGPT. She built on the fly while everybody was there, a BRRRR calculator, like a homegrown one, through ChatGPT, and then showed them how to build prompts to do other stuff like meal planning and like all this stuff. Apparently it went really well. And a lot of people got a lot out of it. I'm honestly bummed I wasn't there because I like my prompts.
That I just have a client I'm working with right now, and we walk some houses, and he's like, hey, I used ChatGPT and was able to put in my calculators and all my information and then tell how much profit I want to make. And I put in my estimated costs and everything. And then it said, hey, if you want to make a $20,000 profit, here's what you should be offering on each one of these properties.
Oh, cool.
For on online flips. So he's like, hey, can you just drop these as verbals to the agents and say, have us write them up if these can make sense.
If you're catching this and you're like, oh, wow, that sounds cool. I wish I knew how to do that. Like, hit me up or Ted, and I'll see if I can get this prompt from Andrea for the BRRRR calculator. And then I'll see if I can find some other ones that are going to be useful on the daily for listeners that are active in the real estate business. So,
or if you have a cool prompt that you want to share with us,
please share. Yeah. Yes, that's even better. So make sure and hit us up on our Instagram or through the website omaharia.com. And we always love that kind of info because it's super useful.
Yeah. Well, just before we wrap up here, we are continuing our segment here where we are, showcasing the speakers that we had at our last RIA Mastery event.
Yep.
And just so you guys know, our next RIA Mastery event is the Fix and Flip Formula on January 16th.
Mm-hmm.
I did walk some venues yesterday, so we're getting really close to announce where that's going to be.
Great.
But we'll have more details on that here coming soon as we're trying to line up all the speakers. But you can go to riamastery.com to book your ticket right now. But we did have Colin Schwartz in. Colin talked about networking, mindset, finding off market deals. I honestly think this is probably one of the best speaking I've ever seen him do.
I can only think of one other time, maybe the REI Summit that we went to. He really did
on the
well
panel,
on the panel.
Yeah.
But individual presenting wise, I've seen him speak dozens of times over the years, and I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, it was definitely, in my opinion, his best performance. You cannot get this anywhere. We recorded the whole event, but we wanted to use this for the podcast. So this is an edited down version that you're about to hear, but this is, if you want to see the video with this, just go to our YouTube, RIA Radio on YouTube, and you can watch the video, or now we have the video on Spotify too.
Yep. So great presentation. For those of you around the Omaha market, you probably know who Colin is. And he's, scaled up his multifamily business to now over 3,000, I think might be like 31 or 200 doors, and that they own and operate. And just fascinating story he has. Relentless pursuit of growth with that guy. It's weird, man. He's like 10 years younger than me, but like I look up to him on a lot of things. We kind of mentor each other a little bit. So
you guys are best friends.
Yeah.
It kind of amazed me when he's like, I don't remember the exact days, but it's like, for 3,400 and some days now, I've had a property under contract.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
That's an interesting soundbite.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I have like way more than that. Just from not to one up him, but
you don't
like, I can't remember the last time I haven't had a property under contract to buy.
Yeah. Do you have one under contract right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a piece of land actually.
Yeah.
That we're looking to develop either houses and townhomes, like 91 of them, or more like 50 of those, and then a 48 unit multifamily where we could sell off some of those homes and then keep the multifamily. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm eating my own cooking here from the Golden Nugget.
You're like talking to Ben Cat. You're not going to give all the information, but if you dig a little bit, oh yeah, by the way, I got this going on. Never heard that mentioned ever.
Oh yeah, the land deal.
Yeah.
This is in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and our next steps though are meeting with the city to talk about TIF, to talk to the city planning about, this is basically we're attempting to be able to put out new 3-2 housing for under I don't want to name a number here, but it's going to be under $250K for brand new stuff, which this is right by a subdivision, like a pretty popular starter home subdivision where existing homes that are built in the 60s and 70s are selling for $250. So I think it'll go really well. We just have to there's a lot of stuff to put together on this, and it used to be ag land.
Yeah.
So now we have to look at drainage and do an environmental and all that. There's a lot of that.
You should find out if it was alfalfa fields.
It was, I don't know. Why is that?
Well, because I remember when I was doing foundations, that they have really deep roots.
You told me that
held water.
Uh-huh.
And so what we were finding was when these new developments were going on, they weren't digging down deep enough.
Interesting.
And so they were retaining the water still. Those roots were so deep, and then the foundations would start sinking in the ground.
Okay.
But then if moisture came back up, they start heaving them back up from the middle.
Oh, then you got cracking.
The heave is the worst damage and the most expensive thing to fix.
Interesting.
And so we were getting these new neighborhoods that had like year-old homes that we would have literally hundreds of cracks inside of them.
Hey, I went golfing at Iron Horse a couple of weeks ago.
Beautiful place.
Beautiful. Yeah, and they have
that's where we did we had like one full golf tournament together.
Yeah, how many shots of yours did we use?
0.
I love telling
we had fun.
It was a lot of fun. But no,
I didn't break any windows.
But Iron Horse is it's a very cool golf course. It's almost like it's not built out of a rock quarry, but it kind of seems like it was because it's so much like undulations.
You don't feel like you're in Nebraska.
No, and there's a lot of houses there that are built almost like on a cliff.
Yeah.
And why I'm asking, or what I'm going to ask you is, Did you spend a lot of time out there when you were in Thrasher? Because I'd heard a lot of even the new construction homes, there were like lawsuits, and like I had heard like all these foundation companies are just basically like camping there because there's so much work to be done. And
I've been out of that now for almost 11 years.
Oh, true.
So yeah, I think that was before my time or after my time. But there is a neighborhood, if you're from the Omaha area, there's a Bennington neighborhood that, they built that fancy new fire station over there. And that neighborhood behind there, all the houses were heaving up. And like at that time, 10 plus years ago, like I'm giving like $100,000 bids to fix these houses.
Jeez. And do builders get sued out of that?
Yeah.
I mean, is that
so
a thing?
They were, and they bring in their engineers and like, oh no, there's not a problem here. This, this is natural settlement.
Nothing to see here.
They would fight us. And then, I'm like, okay, so I remember specifically as like they put their life savings into their dream home there, and she was just crying, like, it was just heartbreaking. And she's like, they came out with an engineer that put a certified report on this house and that this wasn't going on. Yep. I go, you know what? They're coming in, they're fixing all the cracks. You have a certified engineer report. So in my opinion, the legal liability is 100% off you. I would move right now. And she's like, this is our dream home. We built it. I would move right now.
Wow.
And I'm like, this will never end. You're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. And this is going to be the stress of your life.
Yeah.
Like, move right now. And thank them for providing you that certificate saying that they back that there's no issues here.
Yeah.
I'm like, the legal liability is now gone. You can put on your report that you have had an engineer check it out. Go away.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, that was my take on it. And then next week I'm at the neighbor's house. And next week I'm at the next neighbor's house.
Word got around, huh?
And that's how many phone calls are coming in that neighborhood. Because the soil is generally the same at the neighbor's house.
Yeah, it just goes to show, man, like, the whole age-old debate on like stocks versus real estate or like all that. You get, finance bros that are really not hip to real estate, but it is a hard business because you're dealing with people and houses and all kinds of stuff can go wrong. And there's a lot of legal liability and like, things like that and money and everything else. And sometimes I'm just like, man, I wish I would have just stuck with the stock market sometimes, but where the hard things happen, that's where the money is.
It's true.
So, all right. On that note, man, what do you think?
Solid hour for our rundown.
Was it?
Yes.
Holy cow!
We had a lot to cover.
Time flies.
Yeah. It's just been a long week, and it feels like we haven't like gotten together and discussed some deep stuff. Plus, we've been bringing other people on a real estate rundown.
Yeah.
So good conversations. I think everybody will get a lot out of this. If you guys love what you hear, please give us a review on whatever format you listen to. It means the world to us. If you do a written review, we will read it on the podcast. 5 stars are appreciated. And share this with somebody that would get something, maybe looking to get in real estate or maybe just enjoy a good conversation with Owen. So with that, Owen Dashner, we sign us off.
On behalf of Real Radio, Aiden Bear, and Ted Kosh, I'm Owen Dashner, and you've been listening to the
Real Estate Rundown.
Signing off.
I think
Did you chime in?
Yeah, you did.
Nice.
I think Jory's going to appreciate this one because I don't think
edits.
I don't think we had one.
I don't think we did.
I think Jory should give us a discount on this one.
Man, it's almost like we're figuring this out after 246 episodes.
247.